Okay, so next we are going to do the cartilage piercing, also known as the helix. Okay, so we are again going to use our alcohol prep pad in the area of the treatment site, front and back, and all of the surrounding tissue. Next, we are going to use our antiseptic. Again, my choice of antiseptic is the chlorhexidine swabs. Okay, so I am going to, again, just like the alcohol, do the pierced area, or the area to be pierced, sorry, front and back and surrounding area. Now we are technically ready to mark the area. So when we kind of feel, the ear, we are going to start to feel this transition from, soft tissue on kind of the higher earlobe area that is now transitioning into a more stiff, rigid type of tissue, which we call cartilage. Okay. Now, technically, we want to ensure that we are piercing on the inner side of the ridge of the ear, okay, where the ear curls over. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and mark about right there, okay, and we're gonna show client in the mirror. Okay, now this is kind of the location for, I would say, your typical or traditional cartilage or helix piercing. We can move this up as well. Okay, so client may choose to have it higher, but as long as it is within the same area of cartilage. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and open up my forceps. I'm going to go ahead and open up my jewelry, and I'm going to go ahead and open up my needle. Okay, so the needle gauge that we are going to be using for the helix is either a 16 gauge or a 14 gauge. And the jewelry that I am going to be using for this demonstration is a little bit different than the one I used for the ear, or the earlobe, sorry. So for the earlobe, the jewelry that was used had a back screw, okay? And it's a screw-in system. So what that means is the jewelry post was being inserted from the front of the ear and piercing through the ear, and the backing was then screwed on. For this type of jewelry, we are going to be using a push system, okay? So technically it's not a screw system. So what's happening is we are technically taking our jewelry and we are pushing it into the post. But now what we have to use is an additional tool, because technically this post is actually being inserted from behind. Okay, so we need to use what's called an insertion needle or a needle taper to actually transfer the jewelry. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and open up the needle taper. Okay, and I am going to go ahead and clamp the area. Okay, with my forceps. And again, we are lining up our marking point to the middle of the forceps here, and we are clicking shut. Now, if that clamp is too tight, okay, even on the first click, this is where we can utilize elastic bands. Okay, so we can utilize an elastic band to wrap around our forcep to put tension on the forcep without actually having to use the clicking system of the forcep. Okay, so like this. So we're putting tension on it, allowing for us to clamp, but we're not causing additional stress to the ear. Okay. So technically, I am now going to transfer this to my non-dominant hand. I'm going to go ahead and grab my needle. And again, we are going to be using our pointer finger to push that needle through. Okay. So we are going to kind of just push the cartilage forward slightly. Okay. We're going to kind of line up our needle, ensuring that we are inserting that needle completely straight. We're doing the initial poke through. Okay. I am now going to remove my forcep. And I am now going to utilize my tool of the needle taper. So this little post here is going to be inserted into the hollow part of the needle, and we are pushing that needle through. Okay, and now we have the insertion taper holding the spot open for the jewelry. Now what we're going to do is with our jewelry post, which is the backing, we are going to insert that onto the needle taper. Okay, and now push back up and remove the needle taper. So now we have the backing in, okay, the post. And now we can go ahead with our little rhinestone and push that into the post. Okay, just like so. So again, we take a look at the back. We have some space there for the post length to ensure that there's not going to be any issues when the ear does start to swell.